Good morning, Johan, and good morning to everybody, and good evening, good afternoon to those who are joining from the opposite direction. Uh, Now, we were studying the book of Christ Object Lesson, and last week we we were privileged to study that up to 200, page number 202. That is talking about the prodigal son's situation, and he's finding difficult to find food for him, and he found food because he found work to work in a pigsty and taking care of the pigs, and now no other food is being served to the pig. Pigs always eat the rubbish, we can say, and whatever the rejected food. So he happened to eat those rejected foods, and we have to understand that among the Jews, and even in the Old Testament, we read that not to touch this unclean animal, and a kind of a cursed animal, I could say. I don't want to use that word, but still, that is a reality. Now, when we think about this situation, now he is realizing what kind of food I used to get, what kind of treatment I used to get, what kind of place I was living, what the care I received. So now he's realizing what a big privilege I have lost. I have lost. Sometimes we don't realize until we have it, but once we lose it, we realize that what we had and how much it was, valuable for me. And now, when we have something with us at the moment, we don't realize it, but once we lose it, then we realize that we really lost it. Now, based on this, we can say that we have to understand a situation that always the human tendency, always we have to understand the human tendency that we we have a kind of a feeling, I could say, that we don't cherish the blessings we have. We don't. So because of that, we have a big problem. The human being, when we were created and we were given everything in the Garden of Eden, did we uh, go through it and every day that being thankful and wanted to obey and always wanted to keep that in mind? No, no, we don't have that feeling. We forget. We are very forgetful. And then comes here the salvation of Jesus Christ, and through his own self sacrifice, we are not bothered much. And when it comes with a sermon, or we read something, or somebody reminds us, and we think, yes, 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 that's right, but next moment, gone. So same thing happened to this son as well. Now he is thinking, I am going to make a decision. So we start from there, and his turning point. Okay, so we are going to read from page 202 onwards. Here we find that I quote: "The son determines to confess his guilt. He will go to his father, saying, 'I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.' But he adds, showing how stinted is his conception of his father's love. 'Make me as one of thy hired servants.' So he's making up his mind, thinking that he is going to tell the father, I am going to him. because nobody else is going to give, because I can understand his care for the servants and how he used to look after his hired servants. So at least if I am being among the hired servants, I will be given food to eat and clothes to wear and a roof above me. So he will shelter me. Okay, now I'm going to go. So this is what he realized and thought. Now, what did he do further? Go to page 203. We read, when he danced, now he's thinking about the past, when he danced and feasted with his wild companions, little did he think of the shadow of that had fallen on his home. And now, as with weary and painful steps, he pursues the homeward way. He knows not that one is watching for his return. He knows not that somebody is waiting for him. He knows not. But while he is yet a great way off, the Father discerns his form. Love is of quick sight. Not even the degradation of years of sin can conceal the Son from the Father's eye. He had compassion and ran and fell on his neck in a long, clinging, tender embrace. Now, a person coming from a pigsty will smell pigs, like, and so dirty and so much. The Father is not bothered about that. First impression or the first reaction of the Father, I was waiting for this Son to come back. I know he will come back. I am here. And he is not waiting anymore. He's running to his Son. Now, we are going to watch in page 204, very important portion. Now, it reads, Youth sobs out his repentance, saying, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight. I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. The father holds him close to his side and brings him home. No opportunity is given him to ask a servant's place. He couldn't even ask he couldn't offer to be the servant. No time and no space given to him. He is a son who shall be honored with the best the house affords, and whom the waiting men and women shall respect and serve. Something reminds me now, and I wanted to go back to little away from Christ's object lesson, and we go to the Bible. And in the Bible, 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 13, if you read, we find the confession of David. When David committed sin, that and Prophet Nathan goes to him and telling him directly, it's you, king, that committed this. You know the statement that King David made? He said, I have sinned against the Lord. He said, I have sinned against the Lord, he said. It is not against that uh, Bathsheba's husband, or against the mankind, or against the kingdom, or against the rules of Jerusalem or Judah or anything. No, he said, I have sinned against the Lord. So what is our attitude? What is our attitude? Are we going in that direction? Or are we trying to justify something like, we have done some wrong and we say that, okay, no, that's okay. I have done enough of good things to so and so, and that's fine. That's fine. It squares off. That's fine. So no, no. Here we find that, how King David's response, he's saying, I have sinned against the Lord. And in the same way, King David's confession in Psalms 51, I think the best confession ever we can find in the Bible, one of the best, I could say. And in Psalms 51, verse 4, we find, against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight, Lord. What a confession. My dear brothers, sisters, children, we have to go in this direction. We cannot justify our own way and try to advocate for ourselves. Some people pardon themselves. So this is how it's a joke. So how can you do that? How can you do that? So this is something like that. So here we need to understand that he is not justifying anyway. He is telling, I have sinned. I have sinned against you and heaven. My dear brothers and sisters, children, please try to understand. If we want to confess, let us confess without justifying. Let us admit, let us confess with a recognition of our inability and recognition with our sinfulness. So that is what we need to keep in mind. So we'll go let's go quickly, continue with page 204. Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry, for this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found, and they began to be merry. What a very nice feast this is. First of all, the father showed his love and didn't allow even the son to condemn himself. Okay, he said, I know everything, son. Don't worry about it. Don't look at the past. Let's let's go forward. Let's go forward. You're my son. I can't deny that. You can't deny that. Okay, you came at last to me. That is all I was waiting for all this time. And he embraces him. And the more the son finding uncomfortable, the more father getting him closer, embracing him. And then he orders the servants, please take him, clean him, and dress him with the best robe, and put a ring of acceptance, the ring of authority, the ring to show that you are part of the family. You're part of the family. So this is what we understand. This is what we understand. I think maybe this may be an Eastern practice. So we also inherit from the family line that, the eldest in the family, we used to get a ring, and down the generations, and they have the initials on that ring. And I am being the elders have that privilege. So this may be a kind of a practice there also, and Christ was trying to bring that in. So now we need to understand that this prodigal son who took his portion of wealth, coming back again, and the father recognizes and give him another ring. He would have taken his ring and gone, but he was given a second chance. He was given that ring and authority. I read further in the same page, 204. In his restless youth, the prodigal looked upon his father as stern and severe. How different his conception of him now. So, those who are deceived by Satan look upon God as hard and exacting. They regard him as a watching to denounce and condemn, as unwilling to receive the sinner so long as there is a legal excuse for not helping him. His law they regard as a restriction upon men's happiness, a burdensome yoke from which they are glad to escape. So that's what we understand. And I skip some lines, and I read this sentence. It's very important. The sinner will exclaim with the psalmist, like as a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. Psalms 103 and verse 13. So this is something very important we have to understand. A father who is compassionate, but Satan trying to tell us, no, 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 he's an exacting person, very strict person. And he's not he's a no nonsense person. Of course, there's no doubts about that. It is true, but it doesn't mean to say the father is heartless, the father is not compassionate, and the father is just not forgiving, and the father is not a person that who is not going to accept you. That is the version of Satan always. I read further. Here we read, in the parable, there is no taunting, no casting up to prodigal son of his evil course. The son feels that the past is forgiven and forgotten, blotted out forever. Blotted out forever. And so God says to the sinner, I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Isaiah 44:22. I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. Jeremiah 31:34. The Father is not giving any restriction, and Father is not giving any kind of punishment, or he's not doing anything for to hurt the son who came back. Only the happiness is being shared, the joy is being shared. My dear brothers and sisters, no restrictions whatsoever. You came back now, and you're not supposed to go to the main sitting area. No, you cannot sit at the table and eat. No restrictions, brethren. So this is what we need to understand as Christians. As Christians, we are not a cult, we are a church. And we need to understand that we are not Pharisees and Sadducees to restrict people in this manner. No. Pharisees and Sadducees, they restricted people. No, you cannot come this line, beyond this line, because you transgressed and you went away. No, that's no Christianity defines in that way. But we have something like that, but maybe it's something Judaism or something we are practicing still. Okay, Christ Object Lesson, page 205. And here we read, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. Isaiah 55:7. What a beautiful verse this is. What a beautiful acceptance and definition of Father's love we can see. I read further here. And I skip some lines because no time to read the whole thing. But I don't know. I when I was preparing this or marking some portions, I was finding so difficult to omit certain portions because it's every sentence was giving that sweet love of the Father. So how can we eliminate any portion? Okay, I read further. Now that voice which has long been speaking to our heart, but to which you would not listen, comes to distinct and clear. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Micah 2:10. And further we read, return to your father's house. He invites you, saying, return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Isaiah 44:22. So this is, Sister White writing very clearly here. Return unto me. That is Father's call. She reminds. He invites you, saying, return unto me. So that's the invitation we have. We were given that invitation. We were extended that invitation. Now, Satan won't let us go easily. Satan won't allow us to go easily. And he always do certain things to block us and certain things to stop us going and discourages us. No, 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 don't go, don't turn. No, you have to go this way, this is fine. And you have no room there. Already that son is already there. The older son owns everything, and the father won't accept you, and not even as a servant, because they have enough of servant and more people. So they don't need anyone extra. So you don't go, you stay here, or otherwise you go on a different way. That's okay. You don't go back home. That is always the case that Satan gives as an advice. But here we read Christ Object Lesson, page 206. When Satan points to your filthy garments, repeat the promise of Jesus. Him that cometh to me, I will in no wise cast out. Now, Satan was telling that, see your filth, see your garments, it's not clean. How can you go? But Jesus says, no, I will clean. I will not let you go. I will not reject you. And this we find in John 6:37, Jesus' words. Okay, I read further. Tell the enemy that the blood of Jesus Christ cleanses from all sins. Make the prayer of David your own. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Psalms 51:7. And this is part of that confession of David. I read further in that same page, skipping some lines. Your heavenly Father will take from you the garments defiled by sin. In the beautiful parabolic prophecy of Zechariah, the high priest Joshua, standing clothed with filthy garments before the angel of the Lord, represents the sinner. And the word is spoken by the Lord. Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with change of raiment. So they set a fair mitre upon his head, and clothed him with garments. Zechariah 3, 4, and 5. Now, we understand the same principle being applied in that story, that Jesus applies this concept in the story of prodigal son. And I read further in that same paragraph. Even so, God will clothe you with the garment of salvation and cover you with the robe of righteousness. Isaiah 61:10. These two phrases are very important for our life. The garments of salvation is being given to us, and the robe of righteousness covers our defects. So this is very important. This is very important. Again, in that same page, they're quoting Psalm 68:13, and it reads, Though ye have lean among the pots, ye shall ye be as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her feathers with yellow gold. And it's a beauty is being depicted. And when we go to him, he always accepts us and gives us a value. He gives us a value. That's what we have to keep in mind. And we read further here. It reads in Zechariah 3:7, If you wilt walk in my ways, he declares, I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by, even among the holy angels that surround his throne. He will give that privilege for us to be among the angels, and he is willing to accept us. He's willing to accept us. Now we quickly go to the other side of the story. That is now the story of the older son. Story of the older son is very important for us also, because most of the time we are acting not like the prodigal son who came back and who chose to be inside the house, but we acting like the older son who always inside the house, but when the prodigal son came in and standing out. So hear the story of the older son. When the prodigal came home, the elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. Music and dancing, and they were merrying, they were clapping, laughter, music, dancing, all are there. All are there. He inquires of a servant the reason of the festivity, and the answer excites his jealousy. He will not go in to welcome his lost brother. The favor shown the prodigal he regards as an insult to himself. No, no. The person who came back, we should not give him any place, not even to sit among us. No, 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 no. Let him stand outside. Let him stand outside. When the father comes out to remonstrate with him, the pride and malignity of his nature are revealed. Here, the pride comes out. He was inside the house. He was with the Father all the time, but he didn't show the pride that time. But now it's coming out. It no more hidden. He dwells upon his own life in his Father's house as a round of unrequited service, and then places in mean contrast the favor shown to the Son just returned. He makes it plain that his own service has been that of a servant rather than a son. He is acting like a servant rather than a son. He has to understand he's a son. Nobody, no, nothing to ask permission to go for him to go inside the house. But no, he chose not to go in. He's acting like a servant. Acting like a servant. What a contrast. It is just turning the other way around. And I go to the next page, page 208. When he should have found an abiding joy in his Father's presence, his mind has rested upon the profit to accrue from his circumspect life. His words show that it is for this he has foregone the pleasures of sin. He has not done all the sins, and he has foregone the pleasures of sin because he liked the wealth, and he liked the money, and he liked always. He wouldn't have gone there because he doesn't want to spend money. He doesn't want to spend money. He's a miser that he wanted to keep all the money. Not that he doesn't like. Just this is a hypocrisy. This man was a hypocrite. He plainly shows that he, being the Father's place, he would not have received the prodigal. He does not even acknowledge him as a brother, but coldly speak of him as thy son, your son. He's not my brother. That is your son. You are having a feast with my money. So that's what he says. Now, Father is not leaving even that son. Father's compassion extends even to the older son. Yet the father deals tenderly with him. Son, he says, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Through all these years of your brother's outcast life, have you not had the privilege of companionship with him? Didn't you feel that, you didn't you miss him? Didn't you feel that the son, the brother that who always used to play with you and go with you, eat with you, sleep with you, and spend his time with you, and you as an older son always looked after him? You didn't have that love. So what kind of affection you showed to him? Was it a lie? The father's question, no answers given. And why this story comes suddenly here? By the elder son were represented the unrepenting Jews of Christ's day, and also the Pharisees in every age. Pharisees in every age, including our age now, who look with contempt upon those whom they regard as publicans and sinners, because they themselves have not gone to great excess in vice. They are filled with self-righteousness. Filled with self-righteousness. I am not like him. I am not this, I am not that. So this is exactly what we see today. They claimed to be sons of God's house, but they had the spirit of the hireling. The prodigal's return, which filled the father's heart with joy, only stirred them to jealousy. It brought jealousy to these kind of people. Self-righteousness not only leads men to misrepresent God, but makes them cold-hearted and critical toward their brethren. The elder son, in his selfishness and jealousy, stood ready to watch his brother, to criticize every action, and to accuse him for the least deficiency. Now, who is accuser? Who is the person who's supposed to find fault all the time with us and with the human being? It was Satan. And if we yield into that kind of a character, that means we are not Christians, brethren. we are Satanists. We are Satanists most of the time, because if we are following Satan, not Christ. And I read further from page 210 now. He had showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Micah 6 through 8. I read further in page 211, because time is past already. It is true that you claim to be a child of God, but if this claim be true, it is thy brother that was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. Through you, through you will not join in the greeting to the lost. The joy will go on. The restored one will have his place by the Father's side and in the Father's work. He that is forgiven much, the same loves much, but you will be in the darkness without. For he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. 1 John 4, 7 and 8, actually. Both the verses mention to us that God is love. May the good Lord help us not to be like the older brother, to be like the prodigal son, go back to our Father and enjoy his company, and feast, marry, eat, and be happy forever. This is my vision prayer for you and me. Amen.